You know, gacha games in general just have a really large inherent problem. I'm realizing this is across the entire genre. We're going to be talking about mobile games and the 5 inherent problems they have built into the genre that really can't be fixed. It's really frustrating, and I guarantee you, as you go through this list, 5 to 4 to 3, you're just going to more and more agree, and I'll be surprised if by the end of it you even want to play mobile games. Number 5, and we're going to use Raid Shadow Legends to do an example of this. Number 5 is the fact that everything in these games are ridiculously expensive. I bet you thought that that would be number 1. It's not, okay? It's actually only number 5 for the mobile gaming genre. As you look through here, $25, $29, $2.99, $14, you know, and it's not just Raid Shadow Legends, actually, if we're being honest. This is a multiple game problem. If we remove that and show you Exos Heroes here, Exos Heroes is the same problem. When you go to recruit these characters, you need Zez, right? And Zez is 700 Zez to recruit 11 characters, okay? Well, if we want Zez, how much is Zez, okay? 10,000 diamonds, 2,200 Zez. Okay, so we get 3 Poes for 10,000 diamonds. Well, how do we get 10,000 diamonds, crystals, whatever? That's $90. So what you can see is it comes down to $30 a Poe. $30! They want $30 per Poe. I mean, they're valuing their characters like $3 a character, really, and when you don't pull anything at all, it can be not. Just to give you an idea here, let me show you, just so you can see, okay? This is a complete waste, but this is literally just for the video, okay? Here you go. 30 bucks, pow. Here we go. Wait for it, it's a little laggy. Here we go, and now we get to see what do we get, right? I'm gonna even turn on the music for you so you can hear the little dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. You know, you feel good. Oh my God, what did I get? Oh, I didn't get anything, right? And you get excited, whatever. Actually, I didn't eat them. That's fine. Atoms. So we get another chance here. And during this whole time, when you're getting into these games, you probably know this feeling, guys. If you spend any money on mobile games, you get the dopamine. You're like, oh, here it comes, right? Here it comes. I can't wait to see what happens. And then, you get nothing, okay? Or you do get the character you want, or you spend until you do get the character you want. And then after you get the character you want, it's almost like buying a brand new car. Driving it off the lot, or after owning the character immediately gets devalued. And there you go, there's $30. Now, how do I mean this? How does it immediately get devalued, okay? Look, in games, what they do to continue the pressure, and this is gonna roll us into point number 4, is they change the way the game is either designed or the balance of the game. So let's go into number 4 and talk about that. Let's use Raid Shadow Legends for an example for number 4, though this would be especially true in fragment characters like Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, Marvel Strike Force, and other games with arena-based payout systems, okay? For instance, the major problem with games like this when it comes to collecting heroes is after you make the purchase of the hero, the top team arena character, after a while that character will be extremely devalued. I think an excellent example of this is probably Tormund here, which if you look at Tormund when he came out was beyond disgusting. He was a paywalled fusion character, expensive to get, and if you got him, you were basically guaranteed a decent placement in arena. That is because he was the counter to the previous meta, which was speed. Arbiter lead, Lord Shazar lead, as fast as you can go. Well, guess what? They counter the speed boost with the freeze, okay? And then the freeze gets countered by the next character, which guess what? Block debuffs, okay? Block debuffs with a higher speed as well. So now you can still do speed, the block debuffs happens first, that way you don't get frozen by Tormund, and you can continue. This is not just apparent in Raid Shadow Legends. We can use another game that you guys know I've been vocal about really liking. Exos Heroes has this exact same problem in it as well. To give you an idea, the first character that they were selling in like an increased poll, a banner rate up, was this character here. Now I had to pity him, meaning I had to do 28 of those $30 posts before I even got him by default just because I got unlucky. Granted, not all of the premium currency in this game is that expensive. You can get some for free, so it did not cost me $900. It was actually like a couple $100 or $300 or something like that. But regardless, that is absolutely ridiculous when you are attempting to get a character. It's good that they have a pity post system in that, Once you've paid that amount of money, you expect this character to be as useful as the day you get him. Unfortunately, much like the new car example, this is not true, as it is depreciated once you acquire the character. Later on, what they did is they came out with the counter to this character, which is this character. Effectively, without going into details, her kit counters the other person's kit. But on top of that, they didn't just come out with this guy, they came out with like, oh, that sneeze came out of nowhere. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna leave that one in there just because holy moly, that surprised me. Good Lord. Okay, bonus sneeze. So, man, that one like shocked me out of the point number 4. Okay, so counters. So Dragon Xeon got countered by this character, okay? And not only did Dragon Xeon, this guy here, get countered, but they came out with like 4 characters that basically have the same type of passive as him, and they were all expensive, and then they come out the character that counters it. On top of that, what they also did is they put all the characters, and I keep hitting this button, that's not where I want to go. They put all the characters that you had to buy individually in the same banner later that comes out in 41 days. This means the whales who don't want to have to wait already bought it before they showed this, and now they're showing this that in 41 days you can get these characters. Granted, that's down the line, and it is kind of cool that you can see this, but these characters that are available have already passed, meaning you already made your decision whether or not to purchase them, okay? Because of that, you do feel a little bit scammed after you purchase the characters and see there is a much better option forthcoming. So number 4 for me is not only do you spend a lot of money on these games, but the money you do spend gets devalued, or they change the product you've purchased after you've purchased it. And there's not many products in this world that actually happens to. Number 3, I'm going to explain as if you get really, really into a game. Let's say you find a game you like, okay? Let's say you download Dragon Champions. You've seen all the other Raid Shadow Legends people advertising it. You've seen me advertising it. You've seen other people play it. And you're like, okay, what is Dragon Champions? Let me try it out. So you download it, which by the way, plug, if you want to download it, you can. You can either use my link or you don't have to use my link, and I'll show you how to get some freebies regardless if you use my link or not and still support the channel. But let's say you download the game, you like the game, okay? You're like, all right, I like Dragon Champions. Once you get past the first week or 2 where you can kind of play nonstop, you start hitting a wall of, I'm out of energy, I'm out of arena tokens, and you don't want to spend money. So what do? Well, there's one thing you can do, which is you can go to the cogwheel here, you can use the promo code, you can type in Darth Micro Gift, all one word like that. You're going to hit OK. It's going to process it. You see I've already activated. It's going to give you a bunch of energy. It's going to give you a free character. It's going to give you a bunch of premium currency. It's actually a pretty good value to give you a really thorough pack of goodies in the game, straight from yours truly. You're welcome. And you can keep going. But if you've already used the code, okay, you might find yourself in a position where it's like, I would like to play this game more. I like this game. I would like to play more. Please let me play your game more. And this is not just a Dragon Champions problem. I'm using this one as an example because it does have this problem, and I want to be fair when it comes to balancing the games out. But all of the games, I mean, we could talk Exos Heroes. We could definitely talk Marvel Strike Force, because in Marvel Strike Force, what I did was I had to well out strictly on energy just to level, because to get to your character, like Dragon Champions the same way. If you're like level 40, your character can only be level 40. So you want to level your base level as quickly as you can so you can dominate the arena. And arena pays you out like hundreds of dollars of goodies a month, basically. You really, really, really need to hit arena up, which is where it becomes competitive, right? And that's where it kind of comes back to point 5. It can be expensive to be competitive, and you get kind of live in that loop. But any other game is going to have this problem. Marvel had this problem. Exos Heroes had this problem. Raid definitely had this problem with energy. You're going to notice all of that. In Exos Heroes, actually, it can be even quicker when you play the game, because you get like a few tickets. When you go in to do the tickets, if your team's strong enough, you can actually just automatically sim the battles, not even play them. And then you're kind of down to, you know, having nothing to play here, right? You only get to do this battle 3 times. So that can happen in almost any game. And that's going to be my number 3 for sure, okay? It's eventually you're going to run out of things to do. And if you're a super addict or super into the game, you just purely don't have enough things to do. And they have to make it that way because they need you wanting more so that you will come back to the game and spend more. You know what number 2 is for me? Is that the information that we receive is not always accurate. And I'm not just talking about YouTubers when I talk about this. I'm actually talking about the general populace. So sometimes what happens, I'm going to use Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes as an example for this, but sometimes what happens is you get the companies saying, hey, we're going to constantly come out with a road ahead blog, or we're going to come out with a roadmap like they did in Raid. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it's really the premise of false advertising. It's really the premise of this is going to come, please invest now so you'll be ready for it, and then X does not come. And that's not illegal, weirdly enough. You can say you're developing a game, and it's not illegal. This actually isn't even just a gacha genre problem. If you're familiar with the game No Man's Sky, now No Man's Sky is an interesting example of this because I got bought into the hype, pre-ordered all that stuff, got the game when it arrived, and it was so bad a false advertisement to the point that in stores, when you were buying a physical copy, they had stickers covering over the part that said multiplayer, because they actually printed out the sheets and sent them out as multiplayer, but the stores couldn't legally sell them saying they were multiplayer because it's not a multiplayer game. When it was released, it was a single player game. They straight out lied and said No Man's Sky is a multiplayer. Can you imagine? Could you imagine buying a game, expecting to fly around, meeting other people in spaceship games? And they say, what they said as an excuse is the world was just so big. It was just so big that no one will ever find each other. What? And a multiplayer MMO, just it's so big, no one's gonna find each other. So unfortunately, that was found out within a few hours of the game being released. People decoded it, found out there's literally no multiplayer at all, okay? Not just the gacha thing. No Man's Sky is an interesting point, though, and the reason I mention it is because that was actually a labor of love. What happened was they got such bad press that the company went and decided, you know what? We're going to implement all of the things we promised. And they went back and added everything they promised and more, and actually made it the game they said it was going to be. It's a good game now, weirdly enough. How cool would it be if Raid Shadow Legends released all of this stuff on the roadmap and a real fix for legendary duplicates by 2020? That would make me come back to the game and tell people, reverse your 1-star reviews. In my personal opinion, I mean, if they put everything they promised us, because when the roadmap came out, I was excited. I was happy for the roadmap. I would once again be happy for the roadmap. I'm not gonna try to be a hypocrite here. If theirs came out with something I liked, and they actually come out, I'm still going to be happy about that. But they didn't release the stuff on the roadmap yet, and they're still skipping it. I mean, they skipped the Void Tower, and we're missing a lot of the things. And, you know, you're still a year away from a promise of a duplicate legendary fix. So, number 2, overpromise, underdeliver. And for number 1, there's no example, because it's something that happens to basically every game made that's a server-based game. No matter how much you support a game, no matter how much you buy things in the game, no matter how much you like a game, eventually that game is going to disappear. It is going to be shut off. This is true for all server-based games. Unless this is something like Command & Conquer, you know, where it was such loved by people that not only did the private community keep it going, but then they remastered it later, okay? And you get to have another dose of nostalgia and you get to play it again. Gacha games aren't that way. They're designed that when you join a gacha game, you're very excited, you spend money, you continue the game, spend more money, the game gets progressively either worse or doesn't keep up to the same level of the platform that other games will, so people go to other games where they repeat the process, and then eventually they close down. Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is in the position currently as a gacha game where they're in that process. They're milking the whales for the last few steps, and then they will close down and they'll come out with a new game. And keep that in mind, no matter what game it is. Even if you download, you know, a game that supports me or something, no matter what game, okay? It's going to be, for a fact, eventually the game closes down. So when you make a purchase in a game, or if you spend your time in a game, make sure you realize that the money and time you're spending is a transaction of this goes out for temporary enjoyment in. Because these games are extremely temporary, and gacha games don't last 10 years. Or if they do last 10 years, there's Summoner's War, and then in 10 years, you get made fun of for playing a game that looks like it was made on a Super Nintendo. And so that's kind of the trap, you know? So number 1 for me is gacha games are traps. They're overall traps. Now, I'm just talking about the type that, you go to a bar, you come home with a surprise. I'm talking it's a full-on, you get into a game, you enjoy the game, you get trapped into the game, and there's no excuse for your own decisions. Everyone's an adult. But there is, I would say, a reason to be wary about the decisions you make when playing gacha games. I hope this video has either been informative or made you realize something. If it is, please do subscribe, as I would enjoy the subscribers as I'm trying to grow, not go. I don't want to go anywhere. I'm happy with where I am. If I get to 50K, I'm going to start my well pod tattoo for the channel. I love you all, and please hit that sub button.